1999 Winnebago Adventurer. Got another roof job to do. It is delaminated pretty bad right here. So it looks like it's been painted. Something going on right there. I'm not sure what I would recommend. Okay, so somebody had changed this out before. They put 1/4-inch self tappers and they were leaking. But again, it's important to clean, otherwise you have a nest under there. Hard to know. Let's see, these skylight screws are way too big. Now I can tell you guys, this feels really bad right here. Completely delaminated. So, I don't know if you can see how much that roof is loose. I'm really surprised by the amount of huge holes that Winnebago cuts in the foam. Just need to get that filling in the gap. Now when the Luan goes down, it's flush here, it'll glue fast. Aluminum in, the metal banding across the back. Finally getting close to being done to put Phylon on. Alright, so I've used the table saw to cut some of this high density insulation. And it should just be 3/8 spacers. I'll use these as spacers like we did on the last one on that, what was that? That sunrise, to space the roof up so that the overhang of the Luan helps support the roof itself. Driver's side was collapsing down too, right at the slide. Alright, so this is the driver's side. And it's not too bad right there, but I don't know if you can see right over there, it dips down a little bit. So this would be the foam cove molding. It would go right about there. So I've made this spacer that should fill in right about there. So now when the roof gets, when you stand on it right there, it should support the roof a lot better. It's not ideal, but it should be a lot better than it was. So I just need to go the entire length of the driver's side, kind of glue it in place. The skylight's gonna give me some issues. Kind of discussed with the owner what we're gonna do. Probably have to redo the ceiling inside at the very least, but there's a lot of foam issues on that one too. Alright, well, that's pretty much what it's going to look like. The spacer right there. So now, I need to wait to put on top. This Luan on top will actually absorb some of the weight. And that should match pretty close to right where we want it to be. Pretty pleased with that. Now I just have to put it in the rest of the length there. And then I can put the fiberglass on. Alright guys, I've laid out the Phylon. The new deck is down. We found the center line. I've spaced out the side. I'm ready to glue this down. Again, what is this? 440. This is the stuff that it'll work on wood and fiberglass. It would melt foam, so we don't want to use it for that. So now it's time to glue it down. All right, so we've started here. There's Thomas, and we're gonna start gluing it down. Seen this 1,000 times, I feel like. Hopefully, when we're done. Ooh, that's looking good. Ooh, that's nice. Alright guys, this one's been fighting me pretty bad. It was deformed quite awful too. But the new material is on, front to back. The skylight, it's right about there. The whole area is kind of deformed because it's missing a lot of foam. I will have to address the ceiling from the other side, but we're making some progress. My camera's about to die, so I can't do much more today. All I'm going to do is keep cutting some holes in the roof, just like these right there. It always looks better once you start putting stuff back on it. I'm always worried. But then just like all the other ones, we'll have to trim the sides, tuck it in, and put it all back together. And I don't know. Normally I do that part next. I just need to get this skylight figured out first before I tuck it, because there's no support right there at all. So let me try to explain what's going on right here with this skylight. So we already know this is all rotten, so I'm going to replace the ceiling panel. I'll try to save the fabric, just peel it back and glue it back in place. But this foam that was supposed to be right there and part of, let's see, I think that's it right there. Supposed to have the radius right there. That wasn't mounted to anything because this whole thing's collapsed. And then I don't know if you can see the uneven waviness of the panel itself, because there's no support right here, which affects the radius on the outside. I'll have to just make new foam to put in there, and that'll relieve a lot of the rippling that's on right here. That's why I had to add foam to that refrigerator vent. The paneling itself just doesn't have enough strength without having any backer on it. It'll just ripple. Luan tends to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and cut the fabric loose with a nice sharp razor blade. Try to pull it back and fold it down so that without stretching it. That way hopefully I can glue it back in. This will hopefully act as a good template for me too. So let's find out how good I do. Okay, so looks like it's separating pretty well. Alright, let's keep doing this. This has got to work, right? Okay, so we got the fabric pulled loose. Probably cut the paneling right to there. We will relaminate. I'll just have to tape off all this so when I glue, I obviously don't make a mess. But then I can't use the same red glue on this fabric, else it'll bleed through, so we'll be using the headliner glue. Okay, so I have the last layer of glue on right there. It's glued pretty well to the foam, so I'll just glue the new glue onto that. That's fine, and then this will go back over. It's not worth trying to stress out getting every little piece of the old stuff off, because that's a good base to glue to. But I do want to take this section off that's all ratty, and I figured you guys might like to see on my last video, what was that, 2005 sunrise. The whole ceiling was collapsing, and I said it was just double-sided taped on, that paneling. So there's that double-sided tape. It's like the snot. So that's what had let go, and that's why I had to push it back up and foam it back in. So yeah, there's not quite as much support under there as we would have hoped. So let me just clean all that off. I need to build up this foam, get this backup camera cable out of the way. Then I can cut and glue in the new ceiling, put the ceiling fabric back on, and then I should be able to actually get something accomplished. This is not something I had planned on doing even a little bit. If you take this to a shop, this is a 2-3 day job by itself. All right, so here's my plan. I got 2 layers of foam right here. It's actually gonna be wider than I need it to be, so I have to cut out some of this later. I will glue that up in place. That'll be flush right with that extrusion, because this is extrusion you can see on the outside. Then when we put the paneling on, we'll be able to glue it to the foam and to the extrusion and to this. Hopefully it'll be a little bit better. We're gonna cut out most of it anyways. That's in place. Wait for that foam adhesive to cure, then I can put the ceiling back together. It was a lot more manageable to cut that piece into 2. Let me glue the other one up and then get to it. Pieces are up in there. Now I have something to nail or screw into. Now I just have to put the fabric back on. I'm actually just going to use some Stay Put. It's good enough. It goes on just like normal contact adhesive. Spray both sides, let it dry a little bit and tack up. Alright, with both sides tacky, I can just push it up into place. Do my best not to stretch it and change the geometry too much. But then I can use a putty knife and push it in there just like we're doing carpet. But yeah, should be better. All right, and I think with that, now you can see I have a pretty good template to follow. And the little seam right there, there's just a tiny little bit. It's gonna be so much easier than trying to pressure fit something that couldn't go past the walls easily. And yeah, we'll hammer it in the corners. I just don't have my hammer right now. But yeah, we're doing good. Alright, so the carpet was a pretty good guide. And then I just have to reform that section over there. So there we go. We have a skylight again. It's all been formed. And I have something to screw into. So I feel okay about this. The red might bleed through a little bit, but it's not UV stable, so it will die out in the sun. Next thing I'll do is put the foam back in that was there. We'll measure out this flap, cut it, and tuck it. You've seen that many times. Hopefully nothing goes wrong on this time. Okay, well, we're almost done. We'll get the ACs back on. I'm going to change the AC gaskets, but don't forget we're putting these screws in on the front cap. And squeezing it out a little bit. There we go. Very nice. Luckily, that aluminum that I put in there held screw really well. The aluminum right there held screws really well. And we're nearly done with this thing. Nearly done. Still have to seal the sides and the front and rear caps and clean up my mess. It's a mess in there. But hopefully we'll cut away from this and we'll take a look at the roof. Maybe in the sunlight. Maybe in the sunlight even. Because it's getting dark right now. Alright, let's take a look at this thing. So I just finished doing the radius seal. Make sure you're always doing the radius seal check. Check your radius seals once a year, if not twice. Let's get on the roof of this thing. Okay guys, so we'll take the ladder that we just installed. We'll take a look at this roof. Well, it didn't move, that's good. Forget we added that metal bracing right there and metal bracing to the back, but let's take a look. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. This one fought me the entire way. It had probably been deformed for quite some time. We did end up changing out the seals or the gaskets on the AC. The owner wanted new vents installed, so we installed those Max Air vent covers, or Max Air vents, those Max fan vents, where the vent cover's built into the vent. I do like those. He provided those for us. Our radius on the side, look, I'm sure I've said it a lot, but it's really difficult to get materials or parts right now. That's even including geocell. I couldn't get the clear stuff. Luckily, there's a white roof, so I was able to finish up the job using white. I don't normally like to use white just because it's a little bit messier to work with, but it's a white radius, so it looks okay. Now, this is obviously not the Winnebago skylight, but it was pretty expensive and pretty new, and it did work out. I just cleaned it up and then pulled it away from the edge of the radius so that it sat flush. I put the sewer vent on first so I could make sure that we had room to move it as far forward as I could, or to the passenger side. And then we did see the ceiling. I'll take you guys down inside. We'll take a look at the ceiling so you can kind of see where it looks like when it's all done. Another Max fan right there. Now this is the side we had to shim up and add some foam under there, but I think it turned out pretty well. It doesn't look like it's sinking in any. It feels pretty strong. And then of course we also had broken foam just about everywhere on this roof, so it's feeling a lot stronger to me. There is still some waviness to it. Winnebago roofs can be a little bit uneven and waving. So I did start on this side with clear. You can kind of see the clear Pro Seal. This stuff's pretty new. It's going to take a while for it to set up. I want to give it at least 2 or 3 days to cure. Now it was missing a radio antenna over here. That had just been removed and they're trying to bond over, but we added that radio antenna, but right next to it was going to be where the refrigerator vent was supposed to be. If we look over the side, you can kind of see that refrigerator vent right above the water heater. So that's about where the hole in the roof would have been. I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out. I can't feel where there should be a hole, but if you wanted to, you can pull the refrigerator out from the inside and cut it back out again. But I think we're looking pretty good here, guys. I don't know if you remember, there was broken foam everywhere. I didn't really even like walking right here because that's where the AC duct was right there, and the AC duct right there, and they were both broken. They had all the wire runs that all the foam was broken on. But it feels a lot stronger than it did before. Is it 100%? No, it's not 100%. This was a hard one. I won't deny that. But overall, I'm pleased with the way it turned out. As long as it's properly maintained and inspected, I think we should be okay. I'll remind them to needs to wash his roof a little bit more often than probably he was doing. But at the same time, if my roof was falling apart anyways, I don't know how much time or effort I'd put into cleaning it up either. All right, so he's done a little bit of renovation in here, and it looks really good. Let's go into the bathroom here. And here we go. What do you guys think? I won't deny there's a little bit of a transition hump right there. But overall, it was nice and strong, and these screws had something to grab onto this time. Don't think it looks too awful over there, but this entire wall right there was pretty rotten. I don't want to too much work into it because I don't want to damage that wallpaper. I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out. It was a little bit more work than I'd planned on doing, but this roof should be a little bit better now. This is a 99 Winnebago Adventurer. Now this is a Class A motorhome, but it is a diesel pusher. And I'm tired, guys. I think I'm going to take a break from roofs for a little bit. Thanks a lot for watching. Cure, then I can put the ceiling back together. In the meantime, I have to go get my eyes checked. There, that's just a cell phone antenna booster. So that's what's going on right there.